or that anyone is trolled, so to speak. But when, like we said earlier in relation to the Wowsers, when you're in the public sphere...
The first crack appeared in Montecito's quiet dawn, when a single paparazzi shot caught Meghan leaving a hillside party alone. No Harry, no security convoy.
I need to talk to you. We have a problem.
What's wrong?
My leg's about to fall down my skirt. It's a girl. I don't know if I can shoulder it by myself for the rest of my life.
You don't have to shoulder it by yourself. You can always come to me.
A little bit.
Just a borrowed SUV and a brisk walk to the gate. By breakfast, every tabloid in London had the headline ready. Where's the Duke? It looked like nothing. A social call, but within the palace switchboard the photo triggered red-level chatter for months. Aides had
The Hollywood couple lasting only 2 years. The divorce so abrupt the California native sent her ring back through the mail.
Whispered the Sussexes were sleeping in opposite wings. Now cameras had proof they no longer kept the same calendar. Inside the mansion the distance was literal. Designers had converted Harry's garage gym into a spare apartment. Soundproof walls, compact galley, enough privacy to brood without questions. Friends called it the foxhole.
A lot of people, Meghan Markle was also in the Soho house. They said that she was a girl that was hired to walk VIPs and fill out the red carpets and stuff like that, you know.
They hope to become actresses. They hope to become any type of celebrity, and they will do anything.
And it seems like that lady is a temptress. She's a siren. She's lured him into the rocks.
You know, they start their way up. They latch on to the first rich guy or famous guy they get that they meet at the Playboy Mansion. This is their exit strategy. I'm going to marry this man, and he's going to take care of me the rest of my life.
You know, I mean, she used to be on
Was
Deal or
he
No
infiltrated?
Deal.
And now,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
can't.
Look, she was on Deal or No Deal.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, with the briefcases.
She didn't like being objectified on Deal. And did you think it was an executive position, ma'am?
Staff called it the exile. Each morning he crossed the courtyard to play father, record podcast spots, then vanished behind that steel door, while Meghan mapped the next headline from her office lined with mood boards, lifestyle brand launches, charity angles, the inevitable second season reshoots of her Netflix series, Still Stuck in Purgatory. To understand how they arrived here,
Meghan Markle has been accused of being a former yacht girl. They're also claiming that she could have spent time with Prince Andrew and Jeffrey Epstein before meeting Prince Harry. Meghan was invited to join a yacht week in Croatia in 2016. There's evidence that suggests that she went on Epstein's yacht at the same time as Prince Andrew.
You rewind a decade. Toronto. Meghan, mid-30s, stuck on cable drama Suits, began orbiting Marcus Anderson's Soho House parties, the velvet rope shortcut to London's expatriate elite. There she met Serena, Priyanka, and chefs whose tasting menus doubled as auditions for proximity. Ambition demanded acceleration. Suits paid the bills, but royalty rewrote bloodlines. When a mutual friend offered an introduction to Prince Harry, Meghan's reply was immediate. Does he travel under security or schedule his own flights? She Googled him once, twice, enough to know the family tree and net worth before ever sending a text. July 2016, their blind date at Dean Street townhouse ran past last.
She'd always had an interest in the royal family.
The chances of meeting the Queen are pretty slim.
Oh, the irony. That's a 15-year-old Meghan Markle on a bus tour in London in 1996.
But here she is, aged 15, on a tour of the UK with pictures in front of the
call. Harry, grappling with therapy sessions and army memories, found her irreverence tonic. She found his vulnerability fertile ground. 3 months later he invited her to Botswana. The campfire proposal felt spontaneous, yet Meghan had already cleared her filming schedule, citing personal leave weeks in advance. The wedding 1 year later looked like victory. Global TV ratings topped 2 billion.
And she wanted to find a boyfriend. You know, she loved England, wanted to be in the UK, wanted to be in Made in Chelsea.
And you were a stepping stone.
And I helped. And I introduced her to a few.
Meghan was on a manhunt. She was looking for a husband, and an English husband. And Harry was available.
The kiss on St. George's Chapel steps froze as a stamp, and Meghan's Givenchy train flowed like a Hollywood crane shot. What cameras missed? Harry's side of the family exchanging wary glances. Could an actress raised on hustle respect centuries of duty? They chose hope over doubt. They would regret it in under 12 months. Royal life proved colder than script pages promised. Protocol overruled spontaneity. Tiaras required committees. Free speech ended at the palace gate. Meghan tried modernizing engagements, unscripted speeches, personal blog posts, only to hit brick walls of tradition. She chafed. Harry defended tabloids, amplified every eye roll. By 2019 they'd negotiated the half-in half-out experiment. When the Queen declined, they detonated Plan B, Meg's set. Los Angeles greeted them with palm trees and pandemic silence. Netflix money arrived, $100 million on paper, but creative control belonged to algorithms. Meghan's first podcast episode, framed as fierce reclamation, slid off charts in weeks. Archetypes merchandise stalled at prototypes. As ever, jam jars piled in a storage unit. Harry's memoir sold, then soured, draining sympathy left from wartime tours.
She wants all of the privileges that go along with an identity, but she doesn't want any of the responsibility. She doesn't want to do any of the work. She wants the tiara. She doesn't want the public service.
Their brand, once a comet, now flickered between photo ops and cease and desist letters. 2024 financial reports flagged a cash burn. Security fees, Montecito mortgage, legal retainers, outflow exceeded inflow for the first time. Investors grew skittish. C-suites that once chased Meghan's sparkle now demanded performance metrics. She countered with strategy: re-enter high society alone, cultivate ultra-wealthy allies, draft exit vectors should the Sussex Union fracture.
Harry's people, that he's got a couple of rooms somewhere in Montecito where they can go to and have a bit of quiet time away from Meghan and the children. One of them is supposed to be a bungalow.
It wasn't betrayal, she told a confidant. It was survival. Harry sensed the shift each night. The empty pillow, the rehearsed smiles for joint Zooms, her phone screen glowing after midnight with contacts he didn't recognize. He proposed a family trip to Balmoral. She suggested Davos networking instead. They settled on neither and stayed home, each in separate halves of the estate, polite at breakfast, silent by dusk.
Harry wasn't even as rich as everyone thought.
He's a heartbroken man, affected dramatically by his mother's death.
Well, it does make me wonder, because all signs point to some issues behind the scenes. I mean, professionally, they've had to separate. Their brand was toxic. They were practically...
Then came the viral body language clip. During a charity Q&A, Harry answered whether they'd be married forever. Meghan's yes hit a register too high to convince analysts. Lips tight, shoulders stiff. The footage looped across social feeds with slow-motion breakdowns. Public faith in their fairy tale evaporated overnight. By autumn, palace insiders claimed King Charles privately drafted papers to remove HRH styles if negative polls climbed further. William agreed. A line must be drawn between monarchy and spectacle. The Sussexes hadn't just left. They'd weaponized titles for commerce. Patience Worth. Inside Montecito, Meghan plotted the next arc. She RSVP'd to a venture capital summit in Lake Como rumored to attract European telecom heirs. Harry declined the invite. He'd spend the weekend in Vancouver promoting Invictus, the one arena where cameras still captured his authentic grit. Two paths diverging fast.
Might be the smallest palace I've ever been in.
An apartment.
Gym complex where he can go to and then relax after. There is also suggestions that Meghan has been going to
a staggering 2/3 of Brits are calling for Harry and Meghan to be stripped of their HRH titles.
Now, the King can end this feud, but not by shaking hands with this treacherous little weasel, but by stripping him and his wife of the royal titles that they love to use for commercial gain without doing any of the work.
And that's where part one ends. A marriage built on momentum finally idling, engines sputtering, each partner eyeing separate runways, one toward old money, one toward old identity, while the crown debates whether to sever the last golden thread connecting them to history. The Como summit was the signal flare. Meghan arrived alone, dressed in minimalist ivory, no wedding ring in sight, seated between a French luxury goods heir and a Gulf investment prince. She delivered a keynote on narrative ownership, sliding past manses to royalty, framing herself instead as a global brand in phase 2 of expansion. Reporters noted the absence of the Sussex crest on her slides, another quiet erasure. That night she dined aboard a super yacht moored off Villa d'Este. Photographers caught her on the upper deck texting beneath string lights, laughing with the telecom heir while staff poured Krug. Back in Montecito, Harry watched highlights on a muted tablet, children asleep, security detail unsure whether to comment. 2 weeks later, Netflix finally dropped the long-delayed trailer for With Love, Meghan. It should have been redemption. Instead it became a meme. Viewers fixated on her whispering, "I must get it totally wrong to get it totally right," slicing pineapple.
Now, she's stuck because she was an actress who became a real princess, who wants to be an actress again, but has to continue to pretend to be a real princess. The job of a royal is in many ways to be boring. The job of an actress is to get eyeballs. You can't do both at once, and she's trying to split the baby. She's a classic example of the modern woman, which is she wants to have it all.
He's duplicitous, self-centered, vile, disloyal.
Like Fabergé eggs. Within 48 hours, the dislike ratio eclipsed the Queen's funeral coverage. Internal analytics leaked. Completion rates under 14%, lowest among lifestyle originals. Netflix executives convened an emergency call debating whether to bury season 2 in an off-calendar release. Meghan's team insisted on proceeding. Contracts were ironclad and visibility, even hostile beat silence. Pressure bled into the household. Harry proposed scaling back public work to repair the brand, return to veterans initiatives, fly commercial, pause podcast pitches. Meghan argued distance would concede narrative to tabloids and worse to palace spin doctors. The debate turned into the first loud fight staff could hear through the library doors. Next morning, emails scheduled therapy sessions separately. Financial advisors delivered harsher truth. The Omid Scobie biography advance was spent. Spotify funds gone. A balloon payment on the mansion loomed. Security invoices climbed with heightened threat levels after satirical TV sketches painted them as grifters. Harry suggested selling the house, maybe relocating to New Zealand under lower profile protection. Meghan balked. Montecito was leverage, optics, proximity to Silicon Valley. They compromised by listing a vacant guest house on Airbnb.
The woman who thought she was stepping into a modern-day fairy tale is now stuck in what feels more like an indie drama, complete with public backlash and fading glamour. A modern fairy tale gone wrong.
Far cry from Palace Suite. In London, courtiers drafted briefing notes for King Charles. Polling now showed 72% support for removing Sussex titles if commercial ventures continued. The memo concluded, a decisive gesture may preserve institutional dignity. Charles hesitated, ever the conciliator, but William's margin for patience narrowed. Advisors whispered that a future king could not allow royal rank to underwrite influencer branding. Privately, Harry felt the ice forming. He texted his brother after months of silence, an apology for past accusations, an invitation to meet in Canada during Invictus training. No reply, only a statement from Kensington Palace praising injured veterans, pointedly omitting Harry's name. Friends urged him to travel regardless. Meghan opposed. A solo flight would feed press rumors of separation. Harry booked anyway, leaving at dawn while she slept upstairs.
He blamed pretty much everybody, of course, as usual, other than himself, including his father, the king, who is currently, of course, suffering from cancer.
Ultimately, this whole thing could be resolved through him, not necessarily by intervening, but by stepping aside, allowing the experts to do what is necessary.
Phone buzzing with West Coast contacts. Canada revived him. Uniforms, camaraderie, snow-capped simplicity. Photos of Harry laughing with athletes spread across social feeds. Stark contrast to Montecito luxury shots. The public warmed. Maybe the prince just needed his own mission. Meghan's camp felt the shift and expedited her next move, signing with a powerhouse talent agency known for brokering billion-dollar marriages between brands and personalities. The contract, insiders said, referred to her as Ms. Markle throughout. No Duchess styling. That same week, a Ventura County clerk logged the purchase of a discreet 2-bedroom cottage under an LLC traced to Harry's lawyer. Speculation erupted. A crash pad if the marriage failed. Sources close to Harry insisted it was a writing retreat. Either way, it cemented the impression of parallel lives.
I don't know how much longer my father has. He won't speak to me because of this security stuff.
Harry's digging an even bigger hole for himself here.
Well, I think he's dug so deep now he'll strike water any day now.
By early spring, the children became the only shared agenda. Co-parenting schedules resembled diplomatic timetables. Archie's soccer clinic with Harry on Tuesdays, Lilibet's ballet with Meghan Fridays, alternating Sunday hikes photographed just long enough for agency usage, then separate cars home. The nanny staff rotated in shifts so neither spouse's entourage overlapped.
America and the UK as well, so whether that travels into a separation for them, let's hope not, because there are two children at stake here, and they're both victims of.
Meanwhile, Meghan's social calendar accelerated. Dubai Art Fair, Milan Sustainability Panel, invite-only Aspen Retreat for rising philanthropists. Each appearance placed her beside another eligible magnate, captured in soft-focus Instagram stories. She spoke of global impact funds, inclusive fintech, carbon-neutral wellness retreats, buzzwords that translated to capital hunts. Harry's name surfaced only when interviewers prodded. She answered with a smile and a practiced "We're both thriving in our callings." Thriving wasn't the word palace sources used.
Traditional view is that the husband has some kind of leadership role in the household. Obviously, that has been inverted here. And it's been inverted just like all of the standards of our civilization have been inverted in the middle and later part of the 20th century, largely by feminists.
In May, the Queen Consort discreetly advised Charles to act before headlines declared what everyone already sensed. Buckingham lawyers drafted letters of patent revisions, stripping HRH from any future Sussex commercial materials.
What's going to happen about Harry and Meghan split rumors, but these rumors have been going around now. There is nothing of substance that I've been able to...
The measure waited on a signature. Back in California, Meghan received a confidential email from her new agent.
The acrimony, they've lived through it themselves and they won't want that for Lilibet and Archie either. But moreover to that, I really find that I'm seeing Harry and Meghan much happier professionally.
The World Privacy Tour didn't quite turn out the way that we thought that it would, but so why is he bringing this up now?
Yeah, so this was the Nexus conference. Now, if you think back to a couple of years ago...
One of the tech billionaires was willing to sponsor a documentary slate on one condition. Projects must not be encumbered by royal protocols or shared branding. Translation: drop the Duchess aura, step into standalone stardom. The ask lingered like gunpowder between the couple. Harry returned from Canada to find the house staged for a Vogue feature. Fresh peonies, curated family photos minus Windsor relative. He recognized the new shoot photographer, same person who captured their engagement, now repurposed for Meghan's independent Renaissance spread. No one had warned him. That night he slept in the garage apartment and Googled divorce lawyers discreetly recommended by a former officer. This is where part 2 rests. Two trajectories spinning farther apart. A title at risk, fortunes waning, and one unsigned royal decree poised to sever the last ceremonial thread. Next comes the moment a crown, a contract or a single paparazzi flash decides whether the Sussex saga ends in reconciliation or open war. Summer broke like a verdict. The Vogue Independence issue hit stands with Meghan alone on the cover, headlined "Rewriting Fairy Tales." Inside she spoke of a personal evolution unbound by inherited expectations. No mention of Harry, no mention of Sussex. Social media dissected every page. Royal aides studied the byline that listed her simply as Meghan Markle, founder, investor, mother. At Clarence House that was the trigger. King Charles signed the long-drafted instrument. Henceforth the styles of his and her Royal Highness for the Duke and Duchess of Sussex were to be withheld in all commercial contexts. The document was released at 6 a.m. BST with one sentence of explanation, to protect the integrity of the crown. The fallout was immediate. Luxury sponsors paused Meghan's new wellness line, waiting to see whether founder carried the same cachet without royal guilt. Her agent pushed back, rebranding the narrative as a fresh arena free of outdated titles. Behind polished emails, the agency renegotiated fees downward. Harry learned of the decree while visiting a children's hospice in Oxfordshire. Reporters cornered him outside. He refused comment, but later that night he called Meghan from a borrowed staff phone. The conversation lasted 7 minutes, ending with him staring at a blank courtyard, until dawn. He flew back to California on a commercial red-eye, alone. By August, lawyers were drafting living separation terms. No divorce filing yet. California's 6-month cooling-off window loomed, but the practical division began. Harry kept the cottage LLC and archival rights to Spare 2, his stalled follow-up memoir. Meghan retained the Montecito estate as collateral for upcoming documentaries and a silent partner equity stake from a Middle Eastern investment group. The same prince photographed beside her in Como. Custody discussions grew tense. Harry wanted dual residency between the UK and US. Meghan insisted transatlantic schooling was destabilizing. A mediator proposed seasonal blocks, summers at Windsor Lodge under palace security, winters in California. Nothing was signed. Then came the TMZ leak. Drone footage of Meghan touring a Malibu clifftop property with an architect famous for building tech mogul compounds. The agent claimed it was market research. Tabloids plastered the images next to speculation about a discreet dinner she'd shared with a renewable energy billionaire in Santa Barbara. Harry, blindsided again, spent the night at an old army friend's Airbnb in Venice Beach, photographed the next morning in borrowed board shorts, clutching black coffee, eyes swollen. Netflix finally made its move. They announced with love, Meghan Season 2 would drop all 6 episodes at once, traditional binge protocol for shows they expect to fade quickly. Contractually obliged, Meghan embarked on a minimalist press tour, podcast cameos, controlled Q&As, no live audiences, no reviews were harsher than the first run, aspirational emptiness, a Pinterest mood board with captions, completion rates dipped to single digits. Within a week the series vanished from Netflix's trending row. Financial pressure intensive, property taxes, staff payroll, private security outflows, exceeded the couple's dwindling inflows. Meghan's team floated the idea of a lifestyle masterclass subscription. Early focus groups rated interest low unless scandal admissions included. She declined. Meanwhile, Harry found unexpected calm volunteering with a veterans surf therapy charity in San Diego. A clip of him pushing a wheelchair-bound Marine into a wave went viral, inspiring, unbranded, unmonetized. Public sympathy tilted back his way. Publishers reignited the memoir sequel, this time emphasizing healing over grievance. September brought the legal letter everyone feared, Buckingham Palace notifying the Sussexes that Frogmore Cottage, previously held in limbo, would be reassigned to a working royal. The move symbolically severed their last UK home base. Harry quietly arranged to rent a small farmhouse near Windsor for future visits with the children. Meghan did not object. Her Malibu plans were advanced. On the equinox, the couple released a joint statement confirming a period of personal reflection, living separately, while continuing shared commitment to our children. No mention of reconciliation. The palace responded with a single sentence wishing peace and privacy for all involved. For the first time since their wedding, headlines used the word estranged. In Montecito, removal vans ferried Harry's military memorabilia and a leather journal collection to storage. Meghan's interior team began stripping the house of British antiques, replacing them with gallery white walls and modular furniture favored by tech staging experts. Neighbors noticed separate security patrols. Late October, Harry attended the Invictus Games European qualifier alone. Crowds cheered as he delivered a speech focused solely on athletes. A BBC mic caught his closing words off stage. "This is home." Across the Atlantic, Meghan appeared at a Paris fashion gala wearing a custom gown rumored to cost more than the couple's first home in Windsor. She smiled for cameras, diamond cuff catching every flash. But when asked about Harry, she redirected to new horizons and stepped into a waiting SUV bearing no royal insignia. Winter set the final frame. A carefully scheduled handoff at LAX, Harry returning the children after a UK Christmas visit. Paparazzi lenses captured the moment. Archie running to Meghan, Lilibet clutching a stuffed corgi, Harry and Meghan exchanging a brief embrace. No words, eyes elsewhere. Then separate exits. Separate lives. Thus the fairy tale ends not with fireworks but with parallel headlines. Prince without a palace finds purpose among veterans, and Markle Ventures launches Impact Media Fund. No dramatic courtroom, no royal edict broadcast at midnight. Just two trajectories finally fully diverging, one toward quiet service, one toward relentless reinvention, and a monarchy relieved perhaps that the Sussex chapter has closed itself.